Welcome to Tales with Meaning. Tonight, we explore a story that takes us into the lives of two very different individuals, brought together by an unexpected twist of fate. On the surface, they couldn't be more different. One, a hardened business executive who prides himself on his no-nonsense approach to life, and the other, a struggling single mother fighting to keep her head above water. What happens when their worlds collide? This tale is filled with tension, misjudgments, and a slow unraveling of hidden truths. As their paths intertwine, you'll witness how a single act of kindness can lead to a profound understanding, forever changing their lives. But be warned, not everything is as it seems at first. Stay with us as we delve into this riveting story of empathy, connection, and the surprising bonds that unite us. Jacob Warren was a man of precision. As the CEO of a high-end tech company, he lived by numbers, deadlines, and the bottom line. He had little patience for the weak, and even less for those who couldn't pull their own weight. His reputation as a tough, uncompromising leader was well earned, and he made no apologies for it. Every morning, he started his day with a brisk walk through the city, his mind already working through the tasks ahead, oblivious to the people around him. Across town, Emily Parker's day couldn't have started more differently. A single mother of two, she juggled her job as a waitress with the demands of raising her children. Emily's life was a constant race against time. She was always late for something, be it getting the kids to school, catching the bus to work, or making ends meet. Each day felt like a battle. She was losing, but she pressed on, fueled by the love for her children and the hope that one day, things would get better. Their worlds were set to collide on an ordinary Wednesday morning. Jacob was running late for an important meeting with a new investor, something that rarely happened. Irritated by the delay, he decided to cut through a small park to save time. As he crossed the street, a figure suddenly appeared out of nowhere. Emily, rushing to catch her bus after dropping her kids at school. In the rush, they collided. Papers flew everywhere: Jacob's meticulously organized portfolio of contracts and Emily's precious family photos and utility bills. The moment was pure chaos. Jacob's temper flared, and without even looking at her, he began to berate Emily for her carelessness. Emily, already on edge from her morning struggles, felt a wave of embarrassment and frustration. She snapped back, defending herself, but her words were lost in the whirlwind of Jacob's fury. The scene drew the attention of passers-by, adding to Emily's humiliation. Jacob's cold words stung. He accused her of being irresponsible, a burden to society. His sharp, cutting remarks were the final straw for Emily, who was already at her wit's end. But instead of cowering, she met his gaze with tears brimming in her eyes and whispered, "You have no idea what it's like." Those words hung in the air as Jacob gathered his papers and stormed off, dismissing her like a piece of litter on the sidewalk. He barely made it to his meeting on time, his mind still clouded with irritation. But something about Emily's voice lingered in his thoughts, a voice tinged with exhaustion and pain. As the day went on, Jacob found it increasingly difficult to focus. He replayed the encounter in his mind, each time noticing something different: her torn jacket, the tired lines on her face, the way she clutched a worn-out purse as if it was her lifeline. It was a strange feeling, one he hadn't experienced in a long time. He tried to brush it off, but empathy, an emotion he had long buried beneath his tough exterior, was creeping in. Days passed, and Jacob couldn't shake the memory of that morning. He began to realize that he knew nothing about the woman he had so quickly judged. The more he thought about it, the more he realized how wrong he might have been. His curiosity got the better of him, and he found himself back in the park, scanning the faces of people who passed by. Then, one day, he saw her again. Emily was sitting on a bench, her hands wrapped around a steaming cup of coffee, looking as worn out as she had during their first encounter. Jacob hesitated, unsure of what he was doing there, but something pushed him forward. He approached her cautiously, his usual confidence replaced by an unfamiliar sense of humility. Emily looked up, her eyes widening in surprise as she recognized him. For a moment, there was silence between them, thick with unspoken words. Finally, Jacob spoke, his voice softer than before. "I'm sorry," he began, and Emily blinked, clearly not expecting that. "I didn't know. I didn't understand." Emily's guard was up, but there was something in Jacob's voice that made her pause. She gestured to the spot beside her, and to her surprise, he sat down. They really talked for the first time. Jacob learned about her struggles, her sacrifices, and the endless challenges she faced just to get through each day. Emily, in turn, heard about the pressures Jacob was under, the weight of the responsibilities he carried, and the personal sacrifices he had made to get where he was. As they shared their stories, something shifted between them. Jacob saw Emily not as a careless stranger, but as a person fighting her own battles, just like he was. And Emily realized that beneath Jacob's hard exterior was a man who had lost touch with the softer parts of life, the parts that made people human. Their conversation lasted 4 hours, and by the end of it, they were both changed. Jacob offered Emily a business card, not out of pity, but because he genuinely believed in her potential. He saw in her the kind of resilience and determination that his company needed. Emily accepted it, though not without a hint of skepticism. But for the first time in a long time, she felt seen not as a burden, but as a person with value. In the weeks that followed, their lives began to intertwine in unexpected ways. Jacob helped Emily secure a stable job, and in return, Emily reminded Jacob of the importance of compassion and understanding in a world that often seemed devoid of it. They became unlikely friends, bound by the simple truth that everyone is fighting a battle, and sometimes all it takes is a little empathy to bridge the gap between us. Thank you for joining us on Tales with Meaning. Tonight's story reminds us of the profound impact empathy can have on our lives. Jacob and Emily's story teaches us that understanding and kindness can transform not only our own perspectives, but also the lives of those around us. It's a powerful reminder to pause, listen, and truly see the people we encounter every day. After all, you never know what someone else might be going through. We hope this tale has touched your heart and inspired you to approach life with a little more empathy. Thank you for watching, and until next time, remember every story has a meaning,